We all seen the wall come down at the hands of the Night King and his ice dragon. And though some people liked it, more people didn't like it. But I'm here to tell you that that is not how the wall will come down in the books. And I'm here to give you proof of that. What's the deal, my people? You know this is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you, another one. And as a Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones fan, there were some things I was really happy to see in the show. And there were a lot of other things that I was not happy to see in the show. Now, although people that are book fans want to believe that the books will be entirely different than the show, we must admit to ourselves and say, hey, a lot of these things that we did see will happen, like it or not. And one thing is the wall coming down. We've seen the wall come down, and I think we all suspected that the wall would come down. But I do not believe it will come down in the same manner that we've seen in the show. I believe it was done this way in the show just for ratings, and I believe it was done this way in the show because Dan and Dave thought it was the best spectacle on TV. But I'm going to tell you in this video, and I'm going to give you proof from the book of how I believe the wall will come down in the books. Now, although there is a lot of circumstantial evidence, there is no concrete proof that we will even have a Night King. And if you want to go that far, we could also say that there is no proof that we will have a White Walker with the ability to touch something and turn that creature into another White Walker. We have not seen anything like that happen in the book so far. Yet I will remind you that just because it didn't happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen. When dealing with the Red Wedding, we didn't see anything like that happen until it did happen. So it's a good possibility that there will be a Night King. I believe that there will be a Night King. How he changes people or things into White Walkers is still up for debate. I do not know exactly how that happens, because when you hear the true story of the original Night King, he was not touched in that way for him to turn into the Night King. And we're going to get into that. Now, in order to understand exactly how the wall will fall, and it will fall, rest assured that that will happen, we must get into exactly what the wall is, what the wall is made out of, who constructed the wall, and why it was put up there in the first place. Now, the wall, as we know it, is a colossal fortification which stretches 100 leagues, which is equivalent to 300 miles along the northern border of the Kingdom of the North, separating the realm from the domain of the wildlings who live beyond the wall. The wall is reported to be over 700 feet tall and is made of solid ice. It was supposedly constructed using both magic and mundane means some 8 millennia ago, and in the aftermath of the long night to defend the realm against the White Walkers who dwell in the far north, though they are now considered myths by most men. The wall has grown considerably since it was first constructed, as the Night Watch has spent their years augmenting it with ice blocks and upgraded defenses. The wall is one of Loman Law and Strider's 9 wonders made by man, and the wall is defended by a sword brotherhood of people that call themselves the Night's Watch, who patrol and guard 19 castles from the Forcefang mountain range in the west to the Bay of Seals in the east. Only the Shadow Tower, Castle Black, and East Watch by the Sea are garrisoned at the start of A Song of Ice and Fire. Those who join the watch in order to avoid punishment can also be referred to as sent to the wall. So the wall was constructed by the children of the forest and man to protect mankind from the White Walkers who come from a land far beyond the other side of the wall. And this wall is there to protect mankind from that threat ever happening again. Now, I'm not going to go into exactly how I feel about the wall construction, but if you want to know exactly everything that truly is going on with the wall, then let me point you in the direction of a series that I put out, and I'm putting out the second part of this series this week, called How the Children of the Forest Won the Game of Thrones. I will link the playlist in the description, and in that series I will explain to you exactly why the wall truly was constructed. So please make sure that you subscribe, click that bell so you can be notified when I upload this video and many others. And also, if you can, please thumbs up the video. YouTube, the algorithm loves thumbs up. They love interaction. So please take the time to leave a comment and write down whether you like the video or not, or future videos you would like me to make. Thank you. So now that we know why the wall was created, we can start to piece together exactly how the wall will come down. First, let's focus on the powers that the White Walkers have. Now, as I said before, there's a lot of things that we have seen in the show that we don't know is going to happen in the books. So let's focus on the things that we see both in the book and the show. And one of those things that we know that the White Walkers can do is resurrect the dead. We see that from the stories in the book, and we also see that from what we've seen in the show. A Dance with Dragons, Bran 2. And suddenly, he was not Bran, the broken boy crawling through the snow. Suddenly, he was Hodor, halfway down the hill, with a white raking at his eyes. Roaring, he came lurching to his feet, throwing the thing violently aside. It went to one knee, began to rise again. Bran ripped Hodor's long sword from his belt. Deep inside, he could hear poor Hodor whimpering, still. But outside, he was 7 feet of fury, with old iron in his hand. He raised the sword and brought it down upon the dead man, grunting as the blade sheared through wet wool and rusted mail and rotted leather, biting deep into the bone and flesh beneath. "Hodor!" he bellowed, and slashed again. This time, he took the White's head off at the neck, and for half a moment, he exulted, until a pair of dead hands came groping blindly for his throat. So now that we have something 100% concrete that we can all agree on, the White Walkers resurrecting the dead, we can take that and use that as a way to figure out exactly how the wall is going to fall, because that is their primary power. Out of all the things that the White Walkers can do, resurrection of the dead is what they do best, and that is what gives them the advantage over mankind. So it makes sense that we see them use this power in order to help bring down the wall. Now, we have seen the Night King in the show touch the ground and make the ice crack. As I said, that's something that we haven't seen in the books because we haven't seen the Night King. So we don't know if he's going to have this power. But if he did have that power, that would be a great way to make the wall fall. And in the show, that is something that I thought was going to happen, but they decided not to do it. So let's stick to the things that we know are going to happen because we've seen them in the book and not things that we just seen in the show. Now, dealing with Bran arriving at the Three-Eyed Raven's cave, we've seen on the show them use straight skeletons as whites. Now, in the paragraph, we see that George says specifically that they do have meat on their bones. They have some type of flesh. Now, we know that ligaments are the things that hold bones together. So it would be pretty hard for us to see just straight skeletons coming and running at people. Now, we know we are dealing with magic. And when you're dealing with magic and dealing with fantasy, anything is possible. But since we've seen George make a point in his paragraph to say that when Hodor was fighting him, it was biting through the flesh, I'm going to say that in order to become a white, they're going to resurrect things that have some type of flesh on them, some type of ligament still holding the bones together, not just straight skeletons. This is a very important point, and I want you to remember this point when dealing with how I believe that the wall will come down. So to explain this, let me give you this quick point from the books. A Feast for Crows, Samwell 3. Aemon chuckled softly. "Oh, I am an old man, feverishly and dying." He closed his white eyes wearily, then forced them open once again. "I should not have left the wall. Lord Snow could not have known, but I should have seen it. Fire consumes, but cold preserves the wall." So here we see Aemon about to die, and he's mad that he should not have left the wall because he knows that cold preserves. And he brings up Jon Snow's name, and at the end he puts the wall, which truly means, when you read in between the line, is that when Jon Snow does die, his body will be put into the wall because the wall preserves. That's what that means. But it also means something else, something dealing with the downfall of the wall. And we're going to get into that right now. So in order to understand exactly how the wall is going to fall down, all we have to do is listen to what is reliable in this book. And that is stories. All the old stories seem to be true in some way. So let me give you the history on one story that I believe tells how the wall will exactly fall. A Storm of Swords, Bran 4. Bran wasn't so certain. The Night Fort had figured in some of old Nan's scariest stories. It was here that the Night King had reigned, before his name was wiped from the memory of man. This was where the rat cook had served the Andal King his prince in bacon pie, where the 79 Sentinels stood their watch, where brave young Danny Flint had been raped and murdered. This was the castle where King Shirt had called down his curse on the Andals of old, where the apprentice boys had faced the things that came in the night, where blind Simeon Star Eyes had seen the hellhounds fighting. Mad Axe had once walked these yards and climbed these towers, butchering his brothers in the dark. Although we hear many stories about what happened in the Night Fort, at this particular time I'm only interested in one, and that is the 79 Sentinels. There are ghosts here, Bran said. Hodor had heard all the stories before, but Jojen might not have. Old ghosts, from before the old king, even before Aegon the Dragon. 79 deserters who went south to be outlaws. One was Lord Ryswell's youngest son. So when they reached the Barrowlands, they sought shelter at his castle. But Lord Ryswell took them captive and returned them to the Night Fort. The Lord Commander had holes hewn in the top of the wall, and he put the deserters in them and sealed them up alive in the ice. They had spears and horns, and they all faced north. The 79 Sentinels, they're called. They left their post in life, so in death, their watch goes on forever. Years later, when Lord Ryswell was old and dying, he had himself carried to the Night Fort so he could take the black and stand beside his son. He had sent him back to the wall for honor's sake, but he loved him still, so he came to share his watch. So in this story we hear about a group of men, the 79 Sentinels, who left the Night's Watch and became outlaws. But when they did this outlawish behavior, their dad, the leader of this group, Dad, brought them back and sent them to the wall. So what the Lord Commander felt fit in doing was to put them in ice holes, 79 of them, and put them in there while they were alive. Not only did he put them in there while they were alive, he also left them with spears and horns and had them face the north. Now we just talked about earlier that it would not be skeletons that came back to life in the books, and we know that the ice is preserving, right? That's what we know. So these people probably look exactly like they were when they were put in, and they were locked in there with spears and horns. So we hear about the Horn of Winter, and this is a horn that supposedly is able to shatter the wall. What I think will happen is that these people will be resurrected as whites, and they will get their revenge on the Night's Watch because they will use their spears and blow their horns, and this will shatter the wall, and this is how the wall will fall. But you tell me in the comment section, do you like my theory? Do you think that there are flaws in this theory? Would you rather see the ice dragon knock down the wall with blue fire? If that's something you want to see, something you liked when it came out, put it in the comment section. If you like my theory and say, yo, I think this is the way it's going to go, put that in the comment section too. Please don't forget to thumbs up this video and share this video across the realm. And of course, the most important thing, help the channel grow by subscribing to Teflon TV, and also subscribe to my podcast with LMR called The Lady and the Don podcast. Links will be in the description, and we're about to do a new episode this week. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.